Hey YouTube, NCG here, bringing to you guys a unique deck profile, but it is a shout out to another YouTuber called the Dark Magician. So shout outs to him for coming up with this deck idea, a fun concept deck idea. But it was unique, it was interesting, and it's always interested me whenever he made an update on it. And I thought I myself would create my own variant of this deck, and that is called Legendary Hero, as he calls it. And it's a deck concept that utilizes all of the main protagonists' monsters, ace monsters. So this deck is designed to utilize Dark Magician, Neos, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, Stardust Dragon, Utopia, and the new Firewall Dragon. So it's not a cheap deck because of Firewall Dragon, but if you have Firewall Dragon, which I always recommend that everyone out there should try and get at least one Firewall Dragon, whether it's now or later on, because it's just going to be one of those cards that is always good, even at one. So his profile, his variant utilized like a small magician engine and a few other things, but I thought Odd Eyes fits this perfectly. They're dragons for the Dark Magician fusions. Their scales 1 to 8, so you can pendulum summon these guys out very easily. They're all consistent with through the use of like Arc Pendulum Dragon and so on and so forth. They have tons of spells, so even in his profile I think he used Summon a Monk, but I'm also using it. They have tons of like once per turn spells, and stuff like that, or like just spells that you just want to activate, get something, and you don't mind ditching the rest. And it just overall, I just think the Odd Eyes just fits this fit this archetype very well. Darks and level 7s and all so on and so forth. So I'm going to go, with all that said and done, I'm going to run through the deck profile and just explain my card choices and overall, and I hope you all enjoy it. It's a very unique profile, it's at least a fun deck, and here we go. So we have the Dark Magician, Elemental Hero Neos, 2 Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragons, 3 Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon, 3 Odd Eyes Persona Dragons, 2 Summoner Monks, 1 Elemental Hero Prisma, 1 White Wing Magician, 1 King of the Swamp, and 2 Effect Veiler. So obviously, being Legendary Hero, you gotta have like at least Dark Magician and Neos. I'm going only for 1 because they are searchable through Summoner's Art. I can copy them through Prisma, which is why Prisma's in here. And overall, you just don't want to clog on them. This deck doesn't like constantly keep these guys out and so on and so forth. You're either going to pendulum them out and attack your opponent with them, or they fulfill requirements and combinations with everything else to make the extra deck. And that's why they're there. Obviously, as well being the Legendary Hero theme. I've only gone for 2 Pendulum Dragons. This isn't a complete Pendulum Dragon deck, but I go for 2 because he is a lot of the extra deck requirements. He can also be discarded with Prisma, which is also interesting because of the Rune Eyes Pendulum Dragon. But he also searches out like your Odd Eyes Persona if you have to, and your yeah, that's it. But that's my Odd Eyes Pendulum here is at 2. Gotta have 3 Arc Pendulum Dragons in any Odd Eyes variant. Arc Dragon is just so good. Being able to just summon any Odd Eyes from the deck when an Odd Eyes is popped, so you can grab your Pendulum Dragon, you can grab your Persona Dragon for the effect negations. It's just an amazing card. I always go for 3 Odd Eyes Persona Dragons just because that extra deck negation is just so good when he's on the field. Otherwise, he's also just at a very low scale, so you can do your pendulum summoning basically. 2 Summoner Monks, it is your rank 4 engine. It is your synchro engine because you can get White Wing Magician out of the deck, which is very nice. And just overall, it gets you to your Prisma, who is also in here at 1. Prisma can copy. Prisma is kind of like your second copy of Magician, Neos, and your third copy of Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Prisma is just really good in this deck. The one White Wing Magician, you can search it. You can summon it off Summoner Monk, which then helps you go into your Stardust Dragon. But it could also help you go into your Utopia. So that's why White Wing Magician is in here. King of the Swamp searches Polymerization, but it's also another copy of your Dark Magician, your Neos, and your Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. And 2 Effect Veilers for the extra effect negation if you want to take this into like a local event, which I could see it doing pretty well. Being a Pendulum deck in general is just naturally strong. But the 2 Effect Veiler in here is also good for the not only the effect negation, but everything all of your big boss monsters are level 7, so they can also help you go into Stardust Dragon. So for the spells, we have 3 Spiral Flame Strikes, 1 Polymerization, 2 Odd Eyes Fusions, 2 Sky Iris, 1 Terraforming, 3 Summoner's Arts, 1 Dark Hole, 2 MSTs, 1 Monster Reborn, and 3 Scapegoats. So, and I also go with 2 Call Hunters and 2 Miracles. So, Spiral Flame Strike is pretty standard, self-explanatory, such as your Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon or Arc Pendulum Dragon. You're mostly going to go for Arc Pendulum Dragon, but it's also spot removal as well, which is also very handy. 1 Polymerization, searchable off King of the Swamps and just go into your fusion plays, especially into your Elemental Hero Neos Knight. But you've also got the 2 Odd Eyes Fusions. This can go into any Dragon Fusion monster, but you can also, with this, use monsters from your Odd Eyes from your extra decks if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters than you. So this could go into your in general, go into your Starving, your Rune, your Vortex, and also your Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, which is pretty fun and interesting. Your 2 Sky Iris and 1 Terraforming, I find this is a better ratio than just playing 3 Sky Iris, because you don't want to clog with them too much. Even though, yes, you have Summoner Monk in here, you still don't want to clog if you can avoid it. But Sky Iris is really good, such as any of your Odd Eyes cards, including your Fusion. And it also gives your Scales protection. The 3 Summoner's Arts, not only does this search Arc Pendulum Dragon, which in any Odd Eyes deck you would play anyway, but it also searches your Neos and your Dark Magician. Summoner's Art lets you avoid having to play things like Magician's Circle to search your Dark Magician, stuff like that. Also avoids you having to play things like Shadow Mist and Equal to search your Neos. The fact that you can just literally max out on Summoner's Art, which then also searches your natural combo, Odd Eyes combo piece anyway, but also searches your legendary monsters. Dark Hole, this can be Regeki if you want to, and 2 MSTs, this can be any other back row removal that you want. Monster Reborn, I mean, you're playing everything in your extra deck, and Monster Reborn is just naturally really good. But you can also get like one of these 2 back if you need it for a certain play. The 3 Scapegoats, originally I didn't actually have Scapegoat in here, and I put like the Firewall and everything in the extra deck, and I'm like, hang on a minute, I have no easy way to summon Firewall. Well, Scapegoat just somehow just turns out to be a 1-card Firewall. So Scapegoat enables you to go into a Firewall, but also helps you go into your other Link monsters as well, to open up more zones to go into your other cards in the extra deck. One thing to note that you can, because you are playing Scapegoat and you've got now Beast monsters, you can actually go into things like Beast Eyes Pendulum Dragon if you want to put those in there as well. But there's a lot of things you can do with Scapegoat, which means your extra can be very customizable, you could say. But you know, Scapegoat could probably help you go into your synchro plays as well. The 2 Cooler Hunters, I mean, a lot of monsters will be going to the graveyard that you just want to revive back. Things like your Vortex Dragon, Starving Venom, so on and so forth, Stardust Dragon, everything like that. Even your Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. Which is also on a good note, Dark Magician Dragon Knight will protect your Scales, which is also pretty cool. And 2 Mirror Force, I mean, it's a legendary hero deck, so Yugi themed, hero themed, that kind of thing. I just thought Mirror Force in there. It also just keeps a nice little like budget aspect to it. Your extra deck there's a lot of one-offs, it's literally all one-offs. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, Rune Ice Pendulum Dragon. In fact, actually, while I go through the extra deck, I will point out what legendary hero cards can be fused to make them. So Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, Dark Magician in any Odd Eyes cards. Rune Ice Pendulum Dragon, Dark Magician in any Odd Eyes cards. Vortex Dragon is just like the Odd Eyes stuff. Elemental Hero Neos Knight, Neos and Utopia. Um, Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, Dark Magician, and any odd eyes cards. Stardust Dragon is your tuners and basically basic natural synchro plays. Meteor Burst Dragon is basically here for your Odd Eyes Fusion target, as well as an Absolute Dragon target. Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon is literally all of your legendary cards are ranked level 7s. The same with Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. The Utopia Lightning and Utopia is basically your Summoner Monk engine. Firewall Dragon is your scapegoats. Deco Talker is also your scapegoats. Proxy Dragon is also scapegoats, and Link Spider is also scapegoats. Basically, scapegoats going to help you go into your Link plays, which is why we're playing at 3. But scapegoats are also protection cards, so you could also count as part trap. And that's the deck, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, shout outs to the Dark Magician for coming up with this awesome deck idea. I'm always trying to think of like the antagonist build, like can you make an antagonist build, but Chaz is always the one that's ruining it for me because I don't know what to focus it on. Dramas, Armed Dragons, I don't know. GX is a very odd one. I don't know exactly. It's hard to tell pinpoint who the actual antagonist is. Some people say it's Zane, some people say it's Chaz. There's literally so many antagonists in the GX era, but who knows? I might work on it in my downtime, so that kind of thing, and maybe give it to you guys once I found a good build. In fact, I will give it to you once I found a good build. What I'm on about. But again, guys, I hope you enjoy this very interesting profile. Yes, it is for the fun, and yes, it is you know, nods and shouts and everything like that. But it's just fun. It is just a fun build, a fun deck. So you know, against your friends and locals and that. So guys, keep having, as always, until my next video, keep having fun.